Dr. Robert Hayes stared at his computer screen, his coffee growing cold beside him. The data made no sense. For the third time this week, the quantum sensors at the edge of the solar system had recorded impossible readings. Space itself seemed to be disappearing. Dr. Hayes. His assistant poked her head through the door of his office at the Global Defense Initiative headquarters. Captain Foster is here for the briefing. He nodded, gathering his papers. The familiar weight of exhaustion pressed down on his shoulders as he made his way to the conference room. 3 days without proper sleep had left dark circles under his eyes. Captain Lisa Foster stood at the window, her military posture perfect, even after her emergency return from the Kuiper Belt Patrol. She turned as Hayes entered, her face grave. "Doctor, what we saw out there. I've never seen anything like it." "Tell me everything," Hayes said, activating the holographic display in the center of the room. "Leave nothing out." Foster touched a control panel, and a recording appeared in the air before them. The starfield looked normal at first, until the edges of the image began to darken. Not like a shadow or a cloud. The stars simply ceased to exist. "It started small," Foster explained, her voice steady despite the fear Hayes could hear underneath. "Just a point of nothing. We thought our sensors were malfunctioning. Then it grew." She gestured to the recording, where the darkness spread like ink in water. "We lost 3 probe drones trying to investigate. They didn't explode, didn't malfunction. They just stopped existing." Hayes ran his fingers through his graying hair. "The quantum readings suggest it's not just empty space. It's the complete absence of everything. Space, time, matter, energy. A true void. How is that even possible? It shouldn't be." Hayes brought up his data charts. "Reality itself is being consumed. The laws of physics say this can't happen, but..." He waved at the display. "The evidence is right there." Their discussion was interrupted by flashing red lights. The emergency system activated, and screens around the room lit up with incoming data. Hayes' face went pale as he read the numbers. "We've got another one," a technician announced over the intercom. "Forming near Pluto. It's bigger than the others." Hayes and Foster rushed to the main control center, where dozens of scientists and military personnel tracked the phenomenon. The massive wall screen showed a real-time feed from deep space telescopes. The new void was growing faster than any they'd seen before. "Launch the special sensor package," Hayes ordered. "The one with the quantum entanglement detector." Foster raised an eyebrow. "The experimental one. It hasn't been fully tested." "We're out of time for testing." Hayes watched as the small probe launched from a nearby station. "Whatever this thing is, it's getting bolder. More aggressive." The probe approached the edge of the void, its sophisticated sensors gathering data. Hayes held his breath as it transmitted the first readings. Then his eyes widened. "This is impossible," he whispered, staring at the incoming data. "The void. It's not random. There's a pattern. A purpose." Foster leaned over his shoulder. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," Hayes turned to face her, his expression grim, "that this isn't a natural phenomenon. Something is eating our reality. Something old. Something that's done this before." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. On the main screen, they watched as the void swallowed Pluto's smallest moon whole, leaving nothing behind, not even debris. "How do we fight something that erases existence itself?" Foster asked, her military training seeking the solution, a way to defend against this threat. Hayes looked at the quantum readings again, noticing something in the data that sparked an idea. "Maybe we can't fight it conventionally. But look here." He pointed to a particular set of numbers. "The void's edge reacts to quantum entanglement. It actually recoils from it. That's our first real clue." "So what's our next move?" Foster asked. Hayes straightened up, determination replacing his exhaustion. "We need to understand what we're dealing with. And we need to do it fast." He turned to address the room. "Contact every quantum physics lab on Earth. I want all their data on quantum entanglement experiments from the past 5 years, and get me clearance for the GDI's experimental quantum computer." As the room burst into activity, Hayes looked back at the screen where another small moon was disappearing into the void. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats before, but this was different. This time, they weren't just fighting for their lives. They were fighting for the very existence of reality itself. And somewhere in the quantum realm, Hayes believed, they would find their answer. They had to. Dr. Emily Ward hadn't slept in 36 hours, but her AI systems were giving her results she couldn't ignore. The quantum computer hummed softly behind her as it processed the massive amount of data from the void zones. She took another sip of coffee and checked her findings one more time before calling Dr. Hayes. "Robert, you need to see this," she said when he answered. "The AI found a pattern. You won't believe what we're dealing with." 20 minutes later, Hayes stood in her lab, staring at the holographic display. The 3D model showed how the void zones had grown over the past week, but with an added layer of data that made his blood run cold. "They're not random at all," Emily explained, pointing to the shifting patterns. "The AI matched them against every known pattern in our database. Look what it found." She pressed a button, and a new image appeared beside the void data. That's a brain pattern," Hayes said, his eyes widening. "The void zones are firing like neurons." "Exactly. We're not dealing with a natural phenomenon. We're dealing with something that thinks." Emily brought up more data. "And that's not all. The quantum computer detected something else. Traces of other civilizations. Hundreds of them." Before Hayes could respond, the lab's emergency screen lit up. Captain Foster's face appeared, her expression urgent. "We've got company," she said. "A ship just appeared at the edge of the solar system. It's not one of ours." The first alien contact happened 3 hours later. The ship, damaged and barely holding together, carried refugees from a system that had already fallen to the void. Their translator technology was far ahead of Earth's, making communication possible. The alien captain, a tall being with silvery skin named Zexra, stood before the hastily assembled Earth Council. "Your solar system is next," it said, its translated voice carrying across the quiet room. "We have seen this before. The great void consumes all. It has already taken 12 galaxies in our region of space. How do you fight it?" Hayes asked. "We don't. We run." Zexra's large eyes blinked slowly. "No species has ever found a way to stop it. The void is ancient, older than any civilization we know. It consumes reality itself, growing stronger with each system it devours." Emily stepped forward, bringing up her data. "But look at these readings. The void reacts to quantum entanglement. It shows signs of pain, for lack of a better word." The alien studied the data, its expression changing to something like surprise. "This is new. In all our encounters, no one has ever made the void react this way. Because no one else approaches physics the way humans do," Hayes said, excitement creeping into his voice. "We're the only species that developed quantum mechanics this way. Our understanding of entanglement is completely different from yours." The council room burst into discussion. Emily pulled up more data on her tablet, showing it to Zexra. "Our AI analysis suggests the void isn't just consuming reality. It's processing it, like a massive universe-spanning brain. And if it's processing reality," Hayes added, "we might be able to give it something it can't process, a quantum paradox it can't solve." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the building. The main screen showed a new void zone forming, larger than any before, near Mars' orbit. "It's getting closer," Foster said, entering the room. "We've got maybe 2 weeks before it reaches Mars." Hayes turned to Zexra. "You said other civilizations have fallen to this thing. Do you have their data? Their research? Anything we can use?" The alien captain nodded. "We carry the combined knowledge of many fallen worlds. But what can you do that they couldn't?" Emily smiled, bringing up a new simulation on the main screen. We can do what humans do best. Think outside the box, or in this case, outside reality itself. She pointed to her quantum computer. This machine doesn't just process quantum states. It creates new ones, states that shouldn't exist according to normal physics. If the void is like a brain, maybe we can give it a headache it won't forget. 2 weeks to save Mars, Hayes said, looking at the data. And if we fail, Earth is next. Foster stepped up beside him. Then we better not fail. I'll coordinate with the Mars colonies, start evacuation procedures just in case. As the room erupted into action, Emily returned to her quantum computer, the alien captain watching with curiosity. Humanity had always tackled the impossible by thinking differently. Now, faced with an enemy that consumed reality itself, that different thinking might be their only hope. And somewhere in the void, something ancient and vast noticed that these humans weren't running away like all the others. They were standing their ground. For the first time in eons, the void felt something new. Uncertainty. Commander Jack Morrison watched from the bridge of his rescue ship as the void crept closer to Mars. The red planet's colonies were in chaos as people rushed to evacuate. Thousands of ships filled the space around Mars, carrying precious human cargo to safety. "How much time do we have?" he asked his navigation officer. "At current speed, the void will reach Phobos in 6 hours," she replied, her fingers flying over the controls. "Mars itself in 8. Morrison pressed the ship-wide comm button. "This is your commander. All hands, prepare for another rescue run. We're going back for more colonists." On Earth, Dr. Hayes and Dr. Ward worked frantically in their lab. The quantum computer had been running non-stop for days, testing their new theory. Emily's eyes lit up as new data appeared on her screen. "Robert, look at this." She pointed to a graph showing energy patterns. "When we fire quantum-entangled particles at the void, it doesn't just recoil. It releases some of what it consumed, like it's spitting things back out." Hayes leaned in closer. "We need to test this on a larger scale, but we're out of time." He grabbed his phone. "Captain Foster, how soon can you get a ship ready with the quantum cannon prototype?" "Give me 3 hours," Foster's voice crackled through the speaker. "But Hayes, this thing hasn't been tested. It could fall apart the moment we fire it." "We don't have a choice," he replied, watching the void's progress on the main screen. "Mars is almost lost." In Mars orbit, Morrison's ship shuddered as it took on another load of refugees. The void had already swallowed Phobos, Mars' largest moon. There was nothing left where the moon had been. No debris, no dust, nothing but empty darkness that hurt his eyes to look at. "Commander," his sensor officer called out. "Something's happening to the void. It's changing direction, moving faster." Morrison rushed to the viewport. The darkness was spreading across Mars' northern hemisphere like spilled ink. Colony after colony winked out of existence. Emergency beacons went silent, not because they were destroyed, but because they simply ceased to be. "Get us out of here," Morrison ordered. "Full power to engines." His ship turned away from Mars just as Captain Foster's vessel dropped out of faster-than-light travel nearby. Her ship looked different, a massive cannon-like device attached to its front section. "Morrison, get your people clear," Foster's voice came through. "We're going to try something." The quantum cannon powered up, its energy readings going off the charts. Dr. Hayes and Dr. Ward watched through the ship's cameras from Earth, holding their breath. "Fire," Foster commanded. A beam of quantum-entangled particles, millions of times more powerful than their lab tests, shot toward the void. Where it hit, something impossible happened. The darkness retreated, pulling back like it had been burned. And in its wake, pieces of Mars reappeared. "It's working," Emily shouted, jumping up from her chair. "The void is releasing what it consumed." But their victory was short-lived. The void seemed to gather itself, growing darker, more solid. It surged forward again, swallowing the restored areas and moving even faster. "Get everyone out," Hayes ordered through the comm. "The void's fighting back." Morrison's ships and Foster's vessel retreated as Mars was consumed completely. In less than an hour, where the red planet had once been, there was nothing but a sphere of absolute darkness. But they hadn't lost everything. The quantum cannon had worked, even if only for a moment. And most importantly, they had saved over 90% of the Martian colonists. Back on Earth, Hayes stared at the data from the cannon test. "We heard it," he said quietly. For the first time in its existence, something actually heard it. Emily nodded, already working on improvements to their weapon. "And did you see? When the cannon fired, we got readings from inside the void. There's so much in there. Planets, stars, whole galaxies it's consumed. They're not destroyed, just stored somehow. Then we can get them back," Hayes said firmly. "We need to make the cannon bigger, strong enough to force the void to release everything it's taken." Foster's voice came through their comm. "Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it fast. The void's already turning toward Earth, and after what we just did to it, I think it's angry." As the remaining ships from Mars landed on Earth, humanity prepared for its biggest fight yet. They had lost a planet, but gained hope. The void could be hurt, it could be fought, and just maybe, it could be beaten. They just had to figure out how before it reached Earth. Chief Engineer Anna Cooper stood in the middle of the massive construction bay, watching as thousands of workers from every nation on Earth built the largest device in human history. The reality anchor network was taking shape, a ring of quantum cannons that would surround Earth. "How are we doing on time?" she asked her assistant, checking the blueprints on her tablet. "The Chinese team finished their section ahead of schedule," he replied. "The European Union and African Alliance are almost done with theirs. We're making good progress." Anna looked up at the nearest cannon. It was 50 times bigger than the one that had briefly pushed back the void at Mars. The alien refugees had helped improve the design, adding their advanced materials to human quantum technology. In the control room above, Dr. Hayes met with Zexera and other alien leaders who had arrived to help. More refugee ships appeared every day as the void consumed other star systems. "Your design is unlike anything we've seen," one of the alien scientists said, their translator making their clicks and whistles into clear English. "Combining quantum entanglement with your understanding of space-time. It's completely new." "Sometimes the best ideas come from having fewer resources," Hayes explained. "Earth was isolated for most of our history. We had to think differently to solve our problems." Dr. Emily Ward rushed into the room, her face excited. "The AI simulations are done," she said, pulling up the results on the main screen. "If we link all the cannons together, the quantum effect will be multiplied thousands of times. We might be able to not just push the void back, but tear open its structure." The room grew quiet as they studied the data. What they were planning had never been done before. No species had ever fought back against the void and won. Captain Foster entered, followed by Commander Morrison. "We've got trouble," Foster announced. "The void just swallowed Jupiter. Saturn's next. It's moving faster than we predicted." Hayes turned to Anna on the video link. "Cooper, what's your status?" "We need another week to finish the network," Anna replied, her voice tense. "Maybe 5 days if we work round the clock." "The void will reach Earth in 6 days," Morrison said grimly. Anna straightened her back. "Then we'll do it in 4. She turned to address the thousands of workers in the construction bay. Her voice echoed through the speakers in multiple languages. "Listen up. The void's coming faster than we thought. I know you're all tired. I know you're scared. But look around you. Every nation on Earth working together. Aliens who lost their homes helping us save ours. We're not going to let that thing take our planet." A cheer went up from the workers. Anna continued, "New shifts start now. We don't stop until this is done. Earth is counting on us." In orbit, Foster and Morrison organized the defense fleet. Ships from every spacefaring nation formed up alongside alien vessels that had joined Earth's fight. They would be the last line of defense if the reality anchor network failed. Dr. Ward worked with her AI systems, fine-tuning the quantum calculations. Each cannon has to fire at exactly the right moment, she explained to the team. A millisecond off, and the whole network fails. Hayes watched on the main screen as Saturn disappeared into the void. The darkness was visible from Earth now, a growing emptiness in the night sky where the ringed planet had been. But Earth wasn't defenseless. Around the planet, the reality anchor network took shape. Quantum cannons lined up in perfect formation, their power systems humming as they came online. Human determination and alien technology combined into humanity's greatest achievement. Zexra watched in amazement. In all our running, we never thought to stand and fight. But you humans, you see a problem and refuse to accept that it can't be solved. That's because we're too stubborn to know when we're beaten, Anna said with a smile, joining them in the control room. The network is ready. 4 days, just like I promised. Hayes looked at the void approaching through the solar system, then at the united forces of humanity working together to face it. They had one chance to save not just Earth, but to free everything the void had ever consumed. Begin power-up sequence, he ordered. Let's show this thing why you should never corner humans. Around the planet, the reality anchor network glowed with quantum energy, ready for humanity's greatest battle. The void was coming. But this time, something was waiting for it. The void reached the moon first. Dr. Hayes watched from Earth's orbital command station as darkness crept across the lunar surface. The reality anchor network hummed around Earth, its quantum cannons ready to fire. Captain Foster's fleet spread out in defensive formation, their ships looking tiny against the approaching wall of nothingness. All stations, report status. Hayes called out over the global comm system. Asian sector ready, came the first response. European sector standing by. African sector powered up. America's sector ready to fire. Pacific sector all green. Dr. Emily Ward sat at her control station, her AI systems monitoring the quantum energy levels. Robert, the void. It's acting different, she said, pointing to her readings. It's not just moving forward anymore, it's thinking. The darkness had stopped at the moon's edge. Instead of consuming it all at once, it was testing, probing, looking for weaknesses. It remembers Mars, Commander Morrison said from his ship. It knows we can hurt it. Anna Cooper's voice came through from the main engineering hub. Network power at 100%. We can't hold this charge level for long. Hayes took a deep breath. Everything humanity had built, every person on Earth, depended on what happened in the next few minutes. Captain Foster, bring your fleet back behind the network's range. Everyone else, stand by. The void suddenly surged forward, swallowing the moon in seconds. But this time, they were ready. Fire, Hayes ordered. Every quantum cannon in the reality anchor network fired at once. Beams of pure quantum energy shot out from Earth in all directions, meeting the approaching darkness. Where they hit, space itself seemed to crack and bend. The void recoiled. Parts of it tore open. And through the gaps, they could see things. Pieces of planets, stars, whole solar systems it had consumed over the ages. For a moment, the moon reappeared, then vanished again as the void fought back. It's working, Emily shouted. The quantum field is disrupting its structure. But the void wasn't finished. It gathered itself, becoming darker, more solid. It pushed against the quantum beams, trying to break through. Network power dropping. Anna reported. We're at 80% and falling. Hayes grabbed the global comm. Reroute all Earth's power to the network. Everything we've got. Cities across Earth went dark as every bit of power flowed into the quantum cannons. The void pressed closer, now visible to everyone on Earth as a wall of darkness that erased the stars. 60% power. Foster's fleet moved in, firing their smaller quantum weapons at weak points in the void structure. The alien ships joined them, adding their weapons to the fight. 40%. The void reached the outer edge of Earth's atmosphere. Through the gaps torn in its structure, more and more consumed worlds became visible. Alien cities, strange stars, countless worlds trapped in the darkness. "We're losing it," Anna shouted. "Network failing." Then Emily's AI flashed a warning. "Wait, look at this pattern." She sent the data to Hayes' screen. The void. It's not just thinking. It's feeling pain. Every time we hit it with quantum energy, it has to process it. And it can't. Hayes understood instantly. All ships, concentrate fire on these coordinates. Hit it where it hurts. The combined fleet targeted the spots Emily's AI had identified. The void's surface rippled and tore. More gaps appeared, larger this time. "Network power at 20%, Anna reported. "We're almost done." "One more push," Hayes said. "Everything we've got, right now." Every quantum cannon fired at full power. Every ship launched its weapons. On Earth, millions watched as the darkness above their world shuddered and broke apart. The void made one last attempt to reach Earth. But as its structure collapsed under the quantum assault, something unexpected happened. It didn't just retreat, it began to unravel. "The quantum energy," Emily exclaimed. "It's forcing the void to release everything it's consumed, all at once." Space lit up with impossible light as thousands of worlds reappeared. The moon snapped back into existence. Mars reformed in its orbit. Planets, stars, and entire civilizations trapped for eons burst free of the darkness. The void, for the first time in its ancient existence, began to shrink. "Keep firing," Hayes ordered. "Don't let up." Humanity's quantum weapons continued their assault until the last traces of darkness vanished from Earth's sky. When it was over, the night sky held more stars than anyone had ever seen. All the worlds and stars the void had taken, now free again. Earth had not just survived, it had saved the universe. 2 weeks after Earth's victory, Dr. Hayes and Dr. Ward sat in a room filled with leaders from both human and alien worlds. The Reality Anchor Network had done more than save Earth. It had freed thousands of civilizations trapped by the void. "The void is weakened, but not gone," Emily explained, showing the AI's latest scans. "It's retreating through the galaxy, trying to recover. But for the first time, we can track it." Captain Foster stepped forward. "Then we go after it. End this thing once and for all." The room erupted in discussion. Many alien species, used to running from the void, couldn't believe what they were hearing. Humans wanted to hunt it down. Commander Morrison brought up a star map. "We've modified our ships with improved quantum weapons. The aliens who've joined us have added their technology to ours. We're stronger now than ever." Dr. Hayes pointed to specific spots on the map. "Emily's AI can predict where the void will go. It's not random anymore. It's running scared. And that means we can catch it." Anna Cooper had spent the last 2 weeks building something new. She pulled up the designs on the main screen. "This is the Quantum Strike Carrier," she said. "Bigger than anything we've built before. Powered by both human and alien technology. It can create its own reality anchor field while moving." The alien representatives studied the design with growing interest. One of them, a being made mostly of light, spoke up. "For millions of years, we ran from the void. Now you show us it can be fought. We wish to join your hunt." Hayes smiled. "That's exactly what we hope to hear. Together, we're going to take back every corner of space it still holds." The next day, the first quantum strike carrier launched from Earth. Named Humanity's Hope, it carried a crew from 20 different species. Captain Foster took command, with Commander Morrison leading the fighter squadrons. Dr. Ward worked from her new lab on the ship, her AI systems now linked to sensors across the galaxy. "I'm tracking void activity in the Orion Arm," she reported. "It's trying to consume a star system there." "Not this time," Foster ordered. "All crews to battle stations. Let's show it nowhere in this galaxy is safe anymore." The massive ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the target system. The void was there, smaller than before, but still dangerous, reaching for an inhabited planet. Reality anchor field active. Anna reported from engineering. All quantum weapons charged. This time, they didn't wait for the void to attack. The quantum strike carrier fired first, its weapons far more powerful than the ones that had defended Earth. The void tried to retreat, but Emily's AI had predicted where it would go. Cut it off at these coordinates, she called out, sending targeting data to the weapons officers. Ships from dozens of alien worlds moved to surround the void, all armed with quantum technology shared by Earth. The void seemed to pulse, like it was trying to decide what to do. Then it did something new. It tried to communicate. "We're getting patterns," Emily said, studying her readings. "The AI is translating them. It's afraid of us, of humans." Hayes watched from the bridge. "Because we did what no one else ever did. We figured out how to hurt it, how to fight back." The void tried to break through their lines, but everywhere it turned, quantum weapons were waiting. Each hit made it smaller, weaker, forcing it to release more of what it had consumed. "Message coming in from the planet we just saved," Morrison reported. "They're calling us heroes. They want to join the fleet." Foster looked around the bridge at the mixed crew of humans and aliens working together. "Tell them there's room for everyone in this fight. The more of us who stand together, the stronger we are." The void made one last attempt to escape, but the AI predicted its move perfectly. A final barrage of quantum fire tore it apart, freeing another wave of trapped worlds and stars. "Target destroyed," Morrison announced. But the AI shows 3 more void signatures in nearby systems. "Then that's where we go next," Foster said. "Send word to Earth. We need more ships, more allies. We're not stopping until every last piece of this thing is gone." Hayes nodded, looking at the stars around them. Stars that were free for the first time in millions of years. Humanity had done more than survive. They had become protectors, leaders, teachers, showing the galaxy how to fight back against its greatest fear. The hunt was on, and the void was running out of places to hide. 1 year after Earth's first victory, the observation deck of humanity's hope offered a view that would have seemed impossible before. Dr. Robert Hayes stood watching ships from 100 different worlds practicing quantum defense formations. Each ship carried technology that had started with Earth's reality anchor network. Still hard to believe sometimes, isn't it? Dr. Emily Ward joined him at the window. Her AI systems now helped coordinate the entire defense fleet. "We went from almost losing Earth to teaching the galaxy how to fight back." Director Hayes, "Dr. Ward." A young officer rushed in. "Captain Foster needs you on the bridge. We found something big." On the bridge, Foster and Commander Morrison stood with Anna Cooper around a holographic display. The image showed something they'd never seen before, a tear in space itself. "The void didn't just appear one day," Anna explained, pointing to energy readings. "It was created. Look at these patterns. They match ancient quantum experiments. Someone made this thing billions of years ago. And they're still out there," Emily added, her AI displaying new data. "The void we've been fighting. It's been sending signals, calling for help." Hayes studied the readings carefully. "So the void isn't just a weapon. It's a failed experiment that got out of control, eating reality because that's what it was programmed to do. And now its creators know we can stop it," Foster said grimly. "We're picking up massive energy signatures heading toward the Milky Way. They're coming to see who dared to fight back." The ship's communication system lit up. Zexra appeared on screen, now an admiral in the combined fleet. "Earth Fleet Command, we're detecting similar tiers in space across the galaxy. Whatever's coming, they're coming in force." Hayes straightened his back. Earth had faced extinction once and won. They would do it again. "Send word to all allied worlds. Activate the galaxy-wide reality anchor network. Deploy the quantum defense satellites. We've prepared for this." Anna pulled up the latest weapon designs. The new ships are ready. Quantum drives, reality shields, everything we've learned fighting the void built into them. Plus improvements from 30 different alien science teams. All ships, battle stations, Foster ordered. Through the view screen, they watched as the combined fleet took formation. Thousands of ships, all built to protect reality itself. Morrison checked the tactical display. First wave of enemy ships will arrive in 6 hours. They're big, bigger than anything we've seen. They may have made the void, Emily said, her fingers flying over her console, but they never learned to fight it. We did. The AI calculations show their technology is old, ancient, but not evolved. They never had to adapt like we did. Hayes activated the ship-wide comm. This is Director Hayes to all crews. A year ago, humanity faced extinction. We not only survived, we showed the galaxy how to fight back. We freed countless worlds and made allies of former enemies. Now we face those who created the void itself. He paused, looking at the brave faces around him, human and alien alike. They think they're coming to punish us for daring to fight their weapon. Instead, they're going to learn what we learned fighting the void. That reality itself fights back. That life finds a way. And that humanity never, ever gives up. The bridge crew cheered. Similar sounds came from ships across the fleet. Foster smiled. All ships power up quantum weapons, reality anchor fields at maximum. Show these ancient beings what the children of Earth can do. Through the tear in space, massive ships began to appear. They looked wrong somehow, like they didn't quite fit in normal reality. But humanity had learned to fight things that didn't belong in their universe. They're charging weapons, Morrison reported. Let them come, Hayes said calmly. Humanity's defended reality itself. These beings are just another challenge to overcome. The combined fleet moved forward, quantum weapons ready, reality anchor fields humming. Humans had become the guardians of existence, teachers to ancient races, protectors of all life. And they were about to show the creators of the void exactly what that meant. As the battle began, Hayes smiled. The void had tried to swallow everything. Instead, it had taught humanity how to save everything. And that was a lesson they would never forget. The age of running was over. The age of standing together had begun. And it had started with Earth.